Hey everybody, I'm here today to talk to you about 8 things to know about turning the steering wheel. In this video, I'll be going over 8 simple things that you should know, that you should keep in mind with regards to turning the steering wheel. They'll allow you to become better at steering a car, and they'll also allow you to become a better driver. Now, without further ado, let's get right to it. Number 1, using multiple steering techniques is better than only using one. Now, most people have been taught to use one primary steering technique, but there are many steering techniques that you can use, and I would recommend learning as many as you can and using them in various situations. For instance, I tend to use hand-over-hand steering. I also use push-pull steering, and I also use one-handed steering with the palming method, depending on the situation that I'm in, because each steering technique is beneficial for different steering situations. So I would recommend using multiple steering techniques, depending on the driving situation. This way you become a very versatile driver, and you become great at steering in any situation. Number 2, 2 hands are better than one. Now, obviously, it's important to know how to steer with 2 hands and with 1 hand. But with that being said, the more often you can steer with 2 hands as opposed to 1 hand, the better that you'll become at steering a car. Now, like I said, if you're driving a manual car, you're going to have to be taking 1 hand off of the wheel all the time to shift gears. And even if you're driving an automatic car, you're going to be taking 1 hand off of the wheel to adjust your climate control, to shift from, let's say, like reverse to drive, or from drive to park, whatever the case is, or to adjust your your radio controls. The point is, you should know how to steer with 1 hand and with 2 hands, but you want to try, sorry, I have something in my eye, you want to try and steer with 2 hands as often as you can, because it's going to allow you to have more control over the steering wheel and therefore more control over the car and your driving situation. Number 3, an easy way to find out when your wheels are straight. So I'm going to show you an easy way to find out when your wheels are straight. If you turn the wheel all the way to one direction, okay, like I did right now, and then you turn it all the way to the other direction, you'll notice that it turns 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Very simple. So it turns 3 times. Once again, I'm all the way to the left. 1, 2, 3. Very simple. So half of 3 is going to give you the straight point of your wheels if you're all the way to one direction or the other. Half of 3 is 1.5. So let's say you're turned all the way to the right. You just turn 1.5 turns to the left. Just like that. And my wheels are straight. Let's say I'm turned all the way to the left. Okay? You turn 1.5 turns to the right. 1.5. And now my wheels are straight. So that's the third thing that you should know about steering and the steering wheel. Number 4. Smooth steering is absolutely great, but safety is a priority. Now, when you're steering, when you're learning how to drive, when you're trying to improve on your driving and steering skills, you want to try and get better at steering smoothly. You want to improve your skills, and you want to be a smoother steerer. But with that being said, safety is your absolute priority. So that means that I would rather you steer in a very rough manner, but you're safe. You swerve around something and it's so rough, but you avoid that object or that thing that you might hit. So I would rather you be safe than be smooth. Now, safety is an absolute necessity, and then once you know how to steer safely, you want to improve your smoothness skills. So like I said, safety is a necessity and a priority. Smoothness is your goal. It's as simple as that. Number 5, micro adjustments are okay. So while you're driving, it is absolutely normal, and it's actually a good idea to make micro adjustments. That means, let's say I'm trying to stay in a straight line, trying to stay centered in the lane. I'm going to make these little micro adjustments like this. And that's going to allow me to steer the way I want to, smooth and safely. Micro adjustments are good for smoothness and for safety. Let's say I'm turning the wheel, I'm making a turn, and during the turn I'm making these little micro adjustments. That's absolutely okay. It's a good idea to learn to make these micro adjustments, because you're never going to be able to get it perfect as you turn the wheel. So those micro adjustments turn this near perfect steering into perfect steering, okay? Number 6, don't grip the steering wheel too hard. When people are first learning how to drive, they tend to grip the wheel really, really hard. And what that does is that limits how smoothly they can steer. Because if you're gripping the wheel hard, the micro adjustments, and I'll grip it loosely, that are like this, that are nice and fluid, are going to look something like this. They're going to be much harder, much more aggressive. And that's actually going to cause you to have steering that isn't as smooth and potentially even isn't as safe. So with that being said, grip the wheel firmly, but have a nice flexible movement to it. So you want a firm but flexible kind of grip on the wheel. Number 7, when turning the wheel in reverse, your front end will swing out in one direction or the other. Let's say I was reversing out of this parking spot. If I'm reversing out and I turn the wheel to the left like this, and I'm turning it substantially, the front end of my car is going to whip out to the right. It's going to swing out to my right. If I turn the wheel to the right when I'm in reverse, the front end of my car is going to swing out to the left. So keep this in mind. Whenever you're steering in reverse, the more that you turn the steering wheel, the more that your front end is going to whip out. And you have to keep that in mind just so that you know, because you don't want to scrape any cars or hit any objects or anything like that. Last but not least, number 8, practice will allow for progression. Now, I always say that practice makes perfect, and it's something that many people say. But the truth is that the more that you practice, the more progress you'll make. Your steering tomorrow will be better than your steering today if you practice. And guess what? Your steering next week will be better than your steering tomorrow if you practice. So practice as much as you want to improve. It's as simple as that. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over 8 things to know about turning the steering wheel. These are 8 simple things to keep in mind that will allow you to become a better driver and better at steering a car. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. What are some other things to know about turning the steering wheel? Let me know down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.